Welcome, good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to advanced trainings. If you are unmuted, make sure that you mute yourself. When you're coming in, it normally does that automatically. My name is Petra. If you haven't seen me before or seen me in the group, I've been living energy, maybe that's a better word, since I was 7 years old. So this is my playground. I really enjoy being in this space. It makes sense to me. It's natural to me, and also Healy makes sense to me. Hence, I'm doing this training. Not that I know everything. Please don't take that as I know everything. I'm learning every single day, and I love learning from other people. Because I feel that the more we connect, the more we have different perceptions of how we do things in life, we can grow together much faster and we can heal together much faster. And that's why we're here, right? Is to expand. That's my perception of the world and my perception of my life. Yours might be different. I would love to one day to know what your perception of life is and how you're looking at it, because we all have that, and our uniqueness, and our lens of how we see the world is what makes us great, and what makes us contribute to this world to be a better place, as well as how we affect others, and how we inspire others. So I love that part as well. So today we are doing emotions. Well, doing emotions. We are learning about emotions. So, we are feeling emotions. So if you've been feeling a bit edgy this week or last week, would love to know. Pop that in the comments. Last week was a pretty intense emotional week for me. This week was a bit better, but cleaning old karma stuff and cleaning old wounds and old emotions, really deep emotions. And we can talk about that another day. But today, I want to share a bit more about the emotion and how we look at it as information, and how we actually work with the emotion, and how we use Healy to transform the emotion. So let's start sharing, and I'll look at the comments later. Kafa, 27 minutes. Perfect. I love that. Did pure tissue harmony and vitalization, now doing aging. Beautiful. I love vitalization. Perth, Australia. Hi, Perth. Mumbai, beautiful. Let it flow. Yes, let it flow. I agree. So much emotional release. Yes, I feel ya. I feel ya. I feel like I'm going into the depths of everything and transforming everything out. It's like pulling the weeds out. Yeah, so that's where we are currently, and this is what we're doing today. It's emotions. Yeah, majority of us, at least me, I don't know if you can agree, you can type in the comment, never liked the emotional part. Yeah, I was really disconnected from my body. If you would ask me, you would tell me, people would say, are you afraid? I was like, me afraid? No, I'm not afraid. Yeah, so it's literally denying ourselves with what is actually our innate guiding system. Yeah, so let's look at it so we can actually learn from it, so we can find a way to use Healy to actually transform it. Okay, so screen sharing. Let me organize my thingy. Okay, give me a thumbs up. Oh, I would like to see your faces. If you want to share your faces on camera, I would love to see your faces. Let me just put this.
Petra, sorry, I've got laryngitis. It's Bernadette. Can you put my camera on, please?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry to hear that.
I got talk.
Here you go. You keep your voice low and save your voice, and you can chat in a box so we can go through that. I've asked that, and I'll mute you now so you can save your voice.
Thank you.
Here you go. Love seeing faces. Okay, so everybody sees my face and the screen of the slides and everything. Thumbs up. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I can actually organize that. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Enough by me. Okay, let's look at the emotions. So we touched a bit on the emotion in September when we did some basic foundations, But you've heard before, this is a saying that's been going around so long, right? Emotions are energy in motion, and they really are. Yeah. So when we look at the emotion itself, we can't touch it. Yeah. It's energy. But at the same time, we can actually feel it in the body. So how is that possible, right? So we have the emotion that's intangible, and then you have something physical, right? So this is actually a really important thing. Emotions are actually, this is the definition, yeah, and then I'm going to expand it so maybe we can talk about this. And you can share your perception on this as well, of course, because we all have different perspectives. So emotions are reactions that human beings experience in response to events or situations. They are electrical responses of our body's nervous system. The type of emotion a person experiences is determined by the circumstance that triggers the emotion. Okay, let's break this down. We talked about last week, and if you haven't remembered anything from a torus field, an energetic field, the one thing that I would love you to remember, well, there's two things, but one thing that I would love you to remember is that our energetic field is what forms our physical body. And the physical body, the nervous system within the physical body is what generates our what charges or generates our energetic field. Yeah. And when we have a nervous system, there is a connection between the energy and the physical world. Think of emotions as a language of that system. So emotion is actually electricity. It's a message. So when it goes through our nervous system, it actually sends a message. So it's electricity moving through the nervous system, through the neurons, through the nerves, and then into the muscles and into the brain and everything throughout the body. This is like a language that connects our physical body to the field of who we are. And then when the emotion hits the physical matter, the physical body, what happens, we feel sensations. And sensations are what we call feelings. So we have emotion, which is the electrical charge, and it is a message. So it's a energy, which is light. Yeah, light is always energy. And it carries information. Light always carries information. Then light and energy hits the physical body and creates sensations because it actually activates hormones in the body. It activates certain actions that are demanded from the physical body in order to respond to something. So emotions always are our guiding system because nervous system reads the field, right? So energetic field around us actually is a communication method of us reading the environment. And that energy through our field around us sends a message to our nervous system and says, this is what you're feeling. So now there's an emotion that charges, and the emotion charges the feelings in the body. So that's why we call it a guiding system, because that guiding system actually helps us interpret our environment around us before our logical brain can understand. So emotions are literally a bridge between our physical body and our electromagnetic field, yeah? And they literally translate the energy that we can't feel and understand into a tangible language. Does that make sense? Hopefully. If it doesn't, let me know. And we're going to go deeper into it so you can understand it better. So when it says the type of emotion a person experiences is determined by the circumstance that triggers the emotion. So for example, if I say somebody attacks me, I would probably feel fear, right? How my body interprets that, it's a different story. But the emotion is fear. The sensations in the body will be different for each individual because we have a different, so we have electromagnetic field around us that carries information. It's like a library. And it reads the information from the environment. but the body also carries trauma, and it also carries previous experiences that determine how our body responds to the environment. So, for example, somebody can interpret fear and it starts running, right? The other person can interpret fear and actually freezes. So our nervous system is what actually is responsible how our body in a physical environment reacts to certain situations. Because when we have a trigger from the outside, it can be, I don't know, an argument with a partner. It can be, somebody that's really strong as a, in a work environment, and we need to kind of set the boundary. So we'll feel different emotions, but how we will respond will determine, our nervous system will determine that. And our nervous system is what actually is something we need to kind of teach and rewire, right? Because if, for example, when we are born as babies are not actually afraid. Yeah, they're looking to parents to actually get feedback if they need to be afraid or not. So they can actually set some boundaries, and they understand to break the boundaries if they need to, because they're learning where the boundaries are. So they're looking at their parents. If the parent says, "Oh, wait, it's really bad, watch out," the child's nervous system will interpret that as, "Oh, wow, I need to be afraid of that. So this is the response I need to have." So it's really important to understand that when we have trauma in the body, our nervous system will respond differently to the same emotion than someone else's, that their nervous system was not imprinted with someone else's view or someone else's reaction to the same trigger. Yeah. So why are emotions actually important? As we know, they're messages of the body. They're actually our communication system. And it's how our body reads the energy field, and it communicates with the environment, and also translates it into a language that we can understand and we can act on. So our nervous system acts on it. But if we are actually aware of how we are responding or reacting, and we are connecting to the body and listening to the body, we can rewire our nervous system so we can actually start responding to the environment instead of reacting to the environment. They can also affect our behavior, our actions, our thinking, and they actually definitely affect our energetic field. So we're going to look at how that affects our energetic field, depending on the emotions that we're feeling, a bit later. And they help us learn, grow, connect, and survive. So one of the things that I also want you to know from last week is our Taurus field, our energetic field, has a special capability. And one of those capabilities is transfer of energy. Yeah, because that's the law of energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred or transformed. So when we are actually in communities, yeah, that's why tribes in the past was so important, and people living in really close-knit communities and really, connected tribe communities, they actually have a better lifespan, because what happens on a quantum field is, if this is me and this is you, and you are feeling sad, and I actually can hold the space for you, my energy is stronger. So my energy will hold you. What that means is the information I'm holding and the frequency I'm holding will actually transfer to you, meaning it's going to literally expand and make your energetic field stronger. So communities are really important. That's why we learning just by ourselves and doing everything by ourselves, we can get to a certain point, but when we actually join forces together and we start exchanging things in a community, we can go further, and we can heal faster, and we can actually rewire our nervous system better, because nervous system, when it feels supported and feels safe, it will actually release. So community and support are really important when we are healing our emotions. Okay, let me just add people in so I don't forget that. Okay, there's few pictures here. Yeah, don't get scared. It's not a test. It's just some colors. Yeah, so we can color rainbows. I love rainbows. So just so you know, I know probably some of you have heard of Plutchik's wheel of emotion. So this is literally like a hierarchy of emotion. So it literally from in the center, it's the most intense emotion, and the circle around is literally your 8 primary. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so 8 primary emotions. Yeah, and the more outer you get, outside of the circles, the lesser the intensity of the emotion. So the colors here and the colors here are not the same. So don't confuse them. They put colors in, but this is just for intensity and this is for frequency. So I want to explain both of them so you can actually start using them when you're actually looking at scans in Healy. Yeah. So Healy is beautiful because it actually, no matter what scan, for example, we did in September, we did the basic scan. So I showed you just small bits and pieces of Schistler cells. And for anyone starting with emotions and not really being comfortable yet with emotions, or sometimes I even use it just to make it simple and basic to understand and connect to the body. Schistler cells are a really beautiful way of learning and connecting back to your body and connecting and learning about the language of emotion. So when we're looking at left side, which is our flower, which is a Plutchik wheel of emotion, this is the language of our body. So this is the emotion, and then out of the emotion comes feeling, which is sensation. We're going to look at that. So this is what you determine as this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling joy. I'm feeling this in the body. Yeah. And Healy is a beautiful tool for you to actually check in with yourself and then scan to see what are you feeling and what else is coming up for you, so you can start observing what's going on in the body, so you can come back to the body and start learning about sensations within the body so you can be more aware. So when a trigger happens in the world, in reality, you can actually stop and take a look at things in that moment. Why is that important? Because when a trigger happens, what happens in the energetic field is it's electricity. It actually sparks whatever stagnant energy in the body and in the field was sitting there. It actually sparks it out. So it opens up the box. And it's really important to actually understand that working with the emotion in the arena, meaning when they are actually happening, not waiting for after. Yes, of course, if it's too intense and anger is rage, of course you need to calm down, right? Because anger is an active emotion. It will literally push out of the field, where fear is actually a passive emotion, which will go either inwards or out running. Yeah, so away from it. So we have different textures of different how do you call it, elements of emotion and how they react and respond within the environment as well as within us. But the best option to actually work with the emotion is in the space of when they're happening within the body. So you can actually search for Plutchik's wheel of emotion. So the basic 8 primary emotions are joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, and anticipation. The white areas in between are the combinations of 2 emotions. For example, anticipation and joy brings optimism. Yeah, joy and trust bring love. So those are emotions that we experience and within the body, and they have their own feelings within the body, sensations. What happens on an energetic level is the right size. So the right picture is actually frequency and information. So this will actually tell you what happens to the physical body on an energetic level through frequency. So if I have an emotion of, let's say, fear, and an emotion of fear is, for example, looking at the frequency. So let's look at the frequency. You can see that you have ascending and descending. So what I like to say, so as we talked about the frequency, frequency is information. And if it's a low frequency, meaning it's a contraction frequency, meaning it's slow. Yeah. So it's a slow frequency, meaning in the body, it feels contractive. So if you have a cell and you have an emotion of fear, emotion is electricity, but the message that it's carrying, it's actually telling the cell either to expand or to contract. So what does that mean in real life? It will actually mean the same thing. So for example, if you think of fear, if the fear, which is descending emotion, and we can find it here, so it's closer to neutrality. But if you have, for example, guilt and shame, yeah, which are the lowest frequency emotions, how do you feel in the body? Shame is heavy. It actually pushes you down. It literally shrinks. Your whole body language actually shrinks down. You actually start looking down. So your body language actually represents the frequency you're carrying. So if that's what your body does, it literally happens in energy as well. So it contracts. Yeah, it shrinks. It takes out the life out of the cell and out of your body, and happens to your energetic field as well. So it shrinks your energetic field closer to your body. That means you don't have enough space to actually process anything that's coming out of the environment. Yeah, so you're not aware of it. So that means that you're probably more open energetically. So if we have, for example, a feeling of joy, joy is up here. Yeah, so that means it's ascending emotion. So the energy gets higher, meaning it gets faster. Yeah. So if it's faster, means there's more light in it and it's more expensive. So what it does to the cell on a physical level as an information, it actually tells the cell to expand, to breathe, to make more room. So if you're feeling, for example, let's look at how joy feels in the body. So when you're joyful, you feel your heart is like open. It's like really expansive, right? And if you feel like how you're feeling, it feels like bubbly, right? It feels bubbly in the body. It feels like more energy is coming through the body. So the same things happen on every single level of your being, on a physical body, on a cell level, on your emotional level, on your energetic level. So the same happens to your torus field, your energetic field around you. It starts expanding. So what does that mean? It means you can actually hold more information, more energy out of the environment within your space, meaning you can actually, what we call, or some people call, attract new things into your environment. What we are actually doing, we're not attracting it, we are just making space for it. They have already existed there. We have just expanded so much that we have made space for it. So this is literally two sides of a coin for the emotion. So one is the physical language, which is the emotion and sensation. And then the other one is actually the frequency language, which is the information that's carried through the field and within the body. So now let's look at here we go. Now let's look at emotions as information every day. So you're probably not going to think about the frequency, right? But the frequency is important. Why? Frequency affects your physical matter. So if you are shrinking your energy, means that you're depriving your body of oxygens and minerals. So on a physical level, you're actually depleting your body. So that eventually will cause your body to go out of balance, causing different challenges and dis-ease in the body. Yeah. So if you are expanding your body, you are actually making the more flow of blood coming into your cells, into your organs. You're actually creating more space for regeneration. You're actually making your cells dance and be happy so they can actually thrive. That's why frequency is important as information. It happens on a subconscious level. It's not something you kind of need to always analyze. It's something that happens within the body automatically when we are being on a certain frequency of emotion. But let's look at sensations, which are what we normally address, or what we are aware of when we are actually looking at certain challenges, in communication or relationships, or within ourselves, or what we are feeling, or how we are relating to the environment. So sensations, which we call feelings, are the first thing that our body actually senses. So it's the first message of our emotion. So this is the first thing we will actually feel in the body before we could analyze what emotion is behind it. Yeah. So I would like to give you 3 steps so you can actually start observing yourself before you go deeper with Healy. This is a good process for you to start doing. So you're not just aimlessly running programs for emotional balance, which of course they work. I'm not saying they don't, but it will get you to a certain point. But until you actually realize to go in and make that emotion that's behind something conscious, so you're aware of it, you're not going to be able to shift it. As we know, Healy works with intention. So the more you put intention into things that you are doing, the deeper you can transform yourself on any level. So let's look at 3 steps. The first one is when something happens. Yeah, for example, I have an argument with my partner. Yeah, and emotions come up, and I have these feelings, right? All these things are happening through the body, and I have no clue, but my first instinct is to fight. Yeah. So, for example, this is a story. Yeah. So I'm just giving you a story so you can actually understand. You probably can relate to it, right? We're all humans. But my nervous system is saying, this is not okay. I need to protect myself. So I actually push away. So my energy pushes away, and I actually want to protect myself because fear is running the show. So that boundary, which is not a boundary, it's actually a wall, is what prevents us of getting the information in. So in that moment, when you actually feel yourself wanting to have an instinct of, protecting or withdrawing even, yeah, that's the timing, that's the exact timing you need to actually teach yourself to pause. Literally pause. If you need to move away, if it's too intense, move away. But if you can pause in the conversation or whatever is happening, pause and take 3 deep breaths. So breath through the nose, deep into the body, will actually balance or soothe your nervous system. That means you will actually send a signal to your nervous system, you're safe. It's okay. You can be in an observer view. You don't have to be in an attacker or withdrawer view. So coming into an observer view, it's a really crucial when working with emotions. Non-attachment. Yeah. So non-attachment to any of the situation. I know you think that that person is not right, and you are right. And they probably are not. Yeah. Might be. But it doesn't really matter who's right. Because if you are going in a fight of who's right in a conversation, what happens is you are losing your energy while you can be actually observing and preserving your energy to actually transform it. So pause, take 3 breaths. Next step, get into the body. So the best way to get into the body is breath. The other thing that you could do is start touching your body. Yeah. And you can say to yourself in your mind, this is my hand. This is my hand. Let me just, guys, if you are coming in unmuted, can you please mute yourself? I'm just hearing voices at the back. Okay, so coming into body. Body likes touch. Nervous system likes touch. So when we are actually hugging ourselves, touching ourselves, even tapping, yeah, will actually activate our meridians and our nervous system to actually say we are here, present, in this moment. Because what happens when we are triggered from the outside with certain emotions, what we do is we actually go either into the past or we go into the future. Yeah, and we are not present in this moment, so we are acting out of our previous experiences, or we are acting out of our assumption of what's going to happen in the future. So getting into the body is really important, and then asking questions. So when we are in a vortex of emotions, we're actually not thinking clearly. So we need to start asking questions to get more clarity in order to realize what we are feeling and what the reality truly is, so we can find solutions. Because this will give us feedback from the environment, what's truly going on within our body, and what emotions that are coming up and sensations, what are they trying to tell us? Because as we said, emotions are messengers. Messengers sending a message that something needs to either be transformed, it needs to be transferred, or it actually needs to be released. Yeah, we don't need it anymore because our body has changed frequency. So that frequency is actually, that's coming up, it's actually pushing us down back to where we were, where our body wants to expand. Questions. What questions do you ask? One of the really good questions in that moment would be, what sensations am I actually, or sensations in the body am I feeling now? You can scan yourself if you know how to scan yourself. If not, we're going to do that when we go the connection to the body. We have a topic for that. You can scan yourself through the body and see what your body is actually feeling. You know, am I feeling hot, cold? Is it tight? Is it loose? Is it relaxed? Am I pushing forward my body? Am I pushing backward my body? Yeah. Do I feel sensations in the front part of the body? Am I feeling sensations at the back part of my body? Yeah. Is it in my head? Is it in my body, like in my legs, in my hips? Where is it? Yeah. And what kind of sensation is it? Because the more you're going to learn about your body, the more you're going to start observing your body, the more you're going to start communicating with your body, the easier it's going to be to read it. Yeah. And Healy is a beautiful tool. And I always said since the beginning that Healy for me is a bridge between the physical body and how to connect to ourselves, and between the energy field of who we really are. So we can bridge those two together. And Healy sees things that we don't, so we can start using it that way. What sensations do I feel in the body right now? So that might take some practice. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. There is no right and wrong. Yeah, only you know you. You know your body. Yeah, nobody else. Everybody can tell you what certain things feel like. These are just guidelines. You know what you're doing when you're in fear. You consciously know. Yeah. If you trust yourself enough and observe and practice, you will understand what's going on in the body. Some sensations that you might be feeling, feelings in the body. Yeah. For example, if you're anxious, you can have a lump in your throat. Yeah. Or you can, like, churning of the stomach. It doesn't feel really good. Yeah. You can tremble. Yeah. You can have dry mouth. You can start sweating even if you're cold. You can have shortness of breath. So breathing at the top of your chest instead of in the belly. Feeling weak or even really tense. So if I'm anxious, I know I start clenching my jaw, for example, or my stomach and my belly and my womb space are completely squeezed. Yeah, so that's in my body. You need to start checking with yourself, how do you feel? That's why you check in when things happen. Yeah. Anger. As I said, anger is an active emotion. It's actually really easy to recognize because it's an active emotion. It will want something from you. It demands action. Yeah. So that's why anger is so outwards. Yeah. So it's projecting onto people. But it's the easiest one to actually sense in the body. You can have hot flushes, or you can feel really hot in the head because anger is energy that rises. Yeah. You can clench your fists, or you can clench your jaw. You can even actually start grinding your teeth. Yeah, that's also something that happens with anger. Shaking, like really shaking. Jerky body movements, like you don't know where to go, like your energy is all over the place, or you have too much energy in the body, you need to kind of release it. Yeah. So that can be anger. Rage feels 10 times more intense. Yeah, so this is just basic primary emotions. If you have intensity stronger, all of that will be more intense. If you have a lesser intensity, this will be a bit more subtle. Joy feels like lightness in your body. Yeah, my heart, for example, when I feel joy, my heart just expands. It feels like a big balloon. Yeah, and it feels like bubbles forming in my heart and in my chest. And I feel like light, like, jumping up and down. Let me just put this one in. Okay, so then we have warm heart, butterflies. We can feel giddy. You can actually can't stop smiling. Your face is kind of radiant. Yeah, so joy expands because it's an expansive emotion. It will expand through your body, and it will actually feel like it's expanding outside of your body. Yeah. So it's really important to kind of find those sensations within you. Okay, sadness. Probably sadness. We probably experience sadness many times. We can have, feelings of heartache, like seriously, like somebody would cut a knife into our heart. It feels heavy, like a chest, and the whole body feels heavy. It feels tight in your chest. You can't breathe. You can also feel tight in your shoulders and the back. So the back side of, we forget about the back. Yeah. So we tend to focus on the front, but the back side of our body still exists. So the back side of the body is where we actually suppress the deepest emotions that we don't want to look at. So sadness is really a low frequency emotion, meaning it's contractive. It can actually sit really at the back of your heart, meaning you can feel it at the back between your shoulder blades. Yeah, so it can feel really heavy. Then you can be really fatigued, yeah, because it's so low, it's so contractive that it actually drains the energy out of you. Also dropping face, like you kind of feeling the gravity of your body. Yeah. Shame, even lower. So shame is interesting because shame is really contractive, but it squeezes the energy, pushes it out and down. So it can feel hot in the face, but it can feel heavy. Yeah. So it has these oppositions because it's so low in the body, and we can normally feel it in our root chakra. Yeah. And sunken body posture. So you can actually observe people how they walk. The body language actually tells you a lot about what emotions they're holding within the body. Fear. Fear can go in different ways because it's such a broad emotion, and it's been kind of ingrained into our tissue. We can feel dizzy, yeah, because it's shrinking. So it shrinks our cells. We don't have enough oxygen. We don't breathe deeply. We can have weak legs, yeah, because all the energy goes into organs that we need, and then the rest of the body doesn't really get what we need. We can have goosebumps. Sometimes you can actually have a really cold, like a waterfall of energy down the spine, yeah, so it's really cold. You can have fast breathing, but it's going to be at the top of your chest. Really high heart rate, yeah. Shortness of breath, squeezing your belly, yeah. So really squeezing anything, like completely stiff. Your body can be completely stiff, yeah. So think of how your body responds to certain emotions. And if you haven't done this before, I truly encourage you to do that from now on. Stop, observe, look how your body responds. So, and write it down so you can start learning about your body and understand how your body is responding to situations. Because I know mine, but it's your responsibility to know yours, because otherwise it's going to be hard. Yeah. So we've covered now what emotions are, what the primary are, and what they come up, how they come up in the body, what sensations we can feel. And we also understand now how they are contracting and expanding in the energy field. So let's look at now how we can use Healy in order to actually start transforming them. So again, I have offered you 3 steps. So when working with emotions and Healy, Healy is a quantum device. So it's not working on just on a physical level to balance the nervous system and help to move the energy out of the body on a physical level. It's actually working on all layers of your body, yeah, on energetic field as well as on a physical layer. So the way I approach balancing emotions with Healy is this. So I always check in with myself. This is what we've done before. Yeah, checking with sensations. And then I either scan the aura scan, the coaching, or emotional scan. So I love the Schisler because they're simple, but you can scan Bach flowers, Alaskan elixirs, whatever feels right for you. Yeah, find your routine and find your way, because that will resonate with you and your body, and that's how you're going to build relationship with your body and yourself and trusting yourself even more. When I run the scan, I check in. This is what I was feeling, and this is what comes up. So I can see, for example, this emotion I've recognized. The second emotion I've recognized. The third one I actually didn't. And this pattern is new to me, so I'm not aware of it. So I might be focusing more on the pattern that I don't know as much, or the emotion that I didn't actually recognize. So I can start observing how that is coming up and presenting in my physical life. So I can start being aware of it. So I can bring it to the surface into the conscious mind. I would then vibrate that into the body, whatever that is. Yeah. So we've done all the Blue App stuff. You know how to do that. And then do the actions. So actions are movement of energy on a physical level. So you can do the analyzing stuff of checking in and understanding what emotions behind something, scanning and going deeper and vibrating to actually move the energy through the body and through the field. But if you don't do any actions, nothing's going to change on a physical level. Yeah. So my 3 actions that I do after the top 3, I go into the physical body. So what I normally do is the body stores emotion. So our fascia, our connective tissue, is what holds our body together. And if we look at it, the connective tissue is actually the structure of the body. Bones don't touch. So fascia, or the connective tissue, actually surrounds our bones. So when new research actually shows that fascia, or the connective tissue, has more neurons than the brain. So it is a brain in itself. So it actually is electromagnetic, and it holds electricity and emotions. So when we hold certain information, which is emotional information, in the connective tissue, if we have bones, so this is, for example, I don't know, a joint. So fascia will contract, because if there's energy stagnant, the tissue will contract. So what happens is it pulls the bones together. So the bones then start grinding and you have inflammation. So when we start releasing the tension out of the physical body and helping with frequency and vibration to move that energy through the body and open up boxes, yeah, which we stored in the body. I call our body a pantry, yeah? So think of it like your own pantry. So normally the first row, you see the things that you normally use, and they're kind of in your conscious mind, you know they're there, yeah? But if you haven't cleaned up your pantry for a while, if you go digging right at the back of your pantry, you might find cookies that cockroaches started eating, yeah? And you might find other stuff in there, yeah, that you might not be happy with. So the same happens with the body. So when you start opening up and stretching and releasing, there will be really deep emotions that you actually didn't realize you had. They will start coming up. That doesn't mean you're getting worse. It just means that you're touching deeper into the body and releasing what your body doesn't need anymore. So how you can do that? There's few things you can do. Movement, yoga, grounding, which gives you discharge, yeah? Ocean, minerals. Minerals are really important for a discharge, especially silica, and all minerals, if we're honest. Our body is completely depleted of minerals with the food that we're eating. So minerals, movement, there's also fascia stretches or resets that you can do. We're going to look at this a bit more in the physical space, but you can do a lot to actually move the tension in the physical body and then help with Healy programs to transform and regenerate the physical tissue. Then we have nervous system. So nervous system, as we said, is a communication connective tool. Yeah. So if nervous system is not balanced, we're not receiving information correctly. We're missing information. So we kind of need to balance the nervous system. So discharging energy is really important, especially, for example, if you're using Healy and if you're loading a lot of frequency in your body and you're not moving that energy in the physical body, you're not stretching it, you're not releasing it, you're not discharging it, you need to start discharging the energy, right? You can't just pull in things into the basket and things will start overflowing, but you're not balancing things. So you need to start taking out what doesn't work anymore. There's different programs I use to discharge energy. So one is grounding. So physical grounding, yeah, meaning going to the ocean and actually grounding on the earth or having grounding sheets. Shaking is one really good thing to actually discharge any excess energy. And also activating the meridians. So you can start tapping onto your body and activating meridians from the bottom up. Yeah, so just tapping outside of the legs and inside of the legs and just tapping on the body. So you can actually start activating the meridians, moving the energy through the body. Nervous system, regulating your emotions. So breath, it's free and it's always with you. Breathing properly from the belly will actually regulate your nervous system beautifully. Having a reality check, right? So checking in with yourself and literally going and non-attaching to a situation will actually help you understand that you're safe in the space and teaching yourself that you're safe in the body. Then also touch. So someone you trust touching you actually regulates your nervous system. Otherwise, a beautiful exercise that you can do anywhere is literally holding your little finger, which is your heart meridian. Yeah, holding your little finger and just counting to 10, 20, and then switching it to the other little finger. Yeah, and literally holding it and really breathing deep belly breaths. Yeah, it will start regulating your nervous system really beautifully. Yeah, that you can do anywhere. Really simple exercise. While you're doing that, Healy is there to help you and expand what you are doing on a physical level. Yeah. Frequency programs to regulate nervous system are really important. And again, grounding. Yeah, because grounding actually gives you electromagnetic field of the earth. It gives you ions, negative ions to actually discharge the positive ions, which contribute to aging. And that means aging of the cells as well. Yeah. And improper multiplication. Programs that I use. I want to show you something. These are a list of programs you can use, and there's plenty of them. But what I want to show you is this. So let me stop sharing this. I'm just going to share my screen. How do I do this? Here. Let me just see here. Do you have a Heal Advisor search app? Can you see my Heal Advisor? No, you can't because I'm not sharing. Let me share this one. Here you go. Do you see my Heal Advisor phone? Yeah. Do you have a Heal Advisor search app? Type it in the comment if you do. Because I want to know if you actually have a Heal Advisor search app. So what I do is, for example, you can go search. So make sure that you have chosen whatever edition you actually have, so you have the programs that you have on your Healy. But I actually type nervous system, and it comes up with different list of programs. Yeah, and I go the first one at the top And if I don't resonate with those, I'll check the second one to see what programs are in there. And we'll give you a list of programs to support your nervous system. Yeah. So this is, I have a professional, so it's all programs in there. But nerve harmony is a beautiful, and it's at the top. Yeah. So it literally supports your nervous system. If you have the power of 3, classical energetic is beautiful. Pure energy in deep cycles is amazing. Yeah, it actually helps to regulate your nervous system as well as your energetic field. The power of 3 Vata as well. Nerve harmony and digital nutrition. So digital nutrition is frequencies of specific mineral and vitamins to actually help your nervous system regulate. So that's actually a really good one. Hormone harmony, which is in bioenergetic harmony 1, balances everything. Balance in gold cycles. That's a really good one too. Meridians, no meridian. Bioinformation in digital nutrition. Nerve harmony in bioenergetic vitalization. That's my favorite one. Care in gold cycle. So there's all these programs. So you can actually choose which one you actually want to do. But you do know that you can pop this into a schedule, right? So if you want to run all of them, you can just click at the top, add to IMF schedule, create IMF schedule. It will create a schedule, and I'll show you. Here you go. And it will actually give you schedule and reminder of programs to run every day. Excuse me, water, dry air. So you can support your nervous system or emotions whenever you want to. And the same you could do emotion. Emotions, emotional well-being, it's a specific program. If you want a list of programs, you can, let's see, balanced emotions. Sorry. Gives you well-being. You will give you hormonal balance, which is of course important with balancing emotions. It will give you all the programs to help you balance emotions. So you can actually search for yourself so you can be empowered. You don't have to look for what programs to run. This is a beautiful app to use. Who is using this app? I want to know. Let me just stop sharing this one so I can actually come back. Okay, who is using this app? Let me see, where did the chat go? Here you go. Yes, perfect. Okay, so this is how I run things. Tell me how you do it. I want to know how you do it, if you have any other questions or if you had any aha moments or things that you might add on to your own routines. Because this is by no means the only way. This is just my way. Yeah. And everybody has their own way and you need to find your way. That's what I'm teaching you. And I really want to emphasize this, that you know yourself the best. And this is just suggestions and this is just opportunities for you to explore. That's kind of what it is. And if any question, I'll go through the chat so we can see if there's any questions, just pop them in. If there's a longer question, you can unmute yourself and just raise your hand so I know that you want to talk, and I'll unmute. Breath of Life. Oh my God, I love Breath of Life. My favorite programs of all times are Deep Cycles. And we're going to have a proper session for Deep Cycles of how to use them, especially with the new ones. Breath of Life is really good with sadness and sorrow. Really beautiful program to actually move that energy through. Also pure energy with that, because it balances your energetic field and your energy, because when it's a lot of contraction, you need to build up your energy as well. Kapha, I love the power of 3. Purity Shamani, yeah. Okay. Eating a late lunch and watching you. Beautiful. I hope you're enjoying your food and you're actually vibrating the frequencies into your food. Did you know that Healy actually has frequencies for your pantries and for your food? Oh, pretty cool one. I like to joke around that our body is like a pantry. And I said to my friend the other day, when we were looking at the Meg Healy programs and I saw the pantry, I was like, "Ooh, I can do that for my body." And she was like, "Ah, ha, ha." But I like to trial things out and test it on my body before I do anything else. Love to learn from you. Thank you, Michelle. First time on your Zoom. Oh, welcome. Where to find your early Zoom recordings? Okay, so people, thank you for all your messages. I really love you. And thank you for connecting directly with me. But I have only a certain amount of hours per day. So I can only give you so much. So I will say this here. If you're new, all the recordings will be sent through an email through the Healy APAC newsletter. If you are not in the APAC region, you will not receive an email about recordings. So we have an alternative. You can join my private Facebook group where I have all my recordings saved under the guide section of the group. And under each post of the topic, you will have in the comments a link to actually get to the recording. I will literally post this group here right now. So you can actually get into the group and you can just say under the questions who introduced you, just say who introduced you, but then just add, I would love to watch Petra's recordings. How do I share this? Here. Okay, so this in a chat to everyone. This is the Freedom with Frequency Facebook group for recordings. Here you go. So this is the link and you can directly go into Facebook. Okay, let's go. Babies are born with only two fears, fear of loud noise and fear of failing, correct. They can bring certain fears from the field, you know, when we are actually processing things. But yes, majority of time, babies are really curious and open. Can we ask questions? Of course. I will be right with you. You just raise your hand and I'll be with you. So I'll just go through the chat and then I'll be with you. I've started meditation, which is body's meridians, which is in the base chakra. Also discovered, yeah, love the yoga. How can derivations related with Victoria? Also discovered Einstein, how he had revelations, relativity with Victoria's energy. Beautiful. Would love to hear that, Liam. I love to learn new things. Resonance for repeat incidents of getting anxious, angry, fear, hurt, low esteem, helplessness, sadness. Which program to run on blue and pink app? For how many days and how many times a day? That's a long questions of a lot of things. So I would say when you're working with emotions, I know as humans, when we are in this emotional vortex, yeah, it feels pressurized. Have in mind you are in that vortex of that pressure for a reason, because there are either emotions coming up that you need to transform. So tackle one emotion at a time. The one that's coming up the strongest. And if you have multiple emotions, then work on a nervous system first, because you need to build up your nervous system before you can actually tackle the deeper emotions. Imagine that this is like pulling out a root, like a weed with the root. So you're gonna feel like there's holes in the body energetically, yeah. So you need to build up your energy constantly while you're working on yourself. So don't forget about that. And please, please, please don't dive in head first. Yeah, go slow increments, because your body needs regeneration on a physical level when you're working on yourself emotionally. So pauses in between, regeneration, then work, regeneration, and then work. What that looks like for you, I don't know. I've been doing this for a long time. So for me, regeneration can take 3 days or up to a week. And then I'm back on working on myself. But for some, it can take a month or two. So depending on where you are in your body, right? So listening to your body is really important. But just some programs. Anxious, I would definitely look at the nervous system, supporting the nervous system. Search in the search app. Angry, anger, I would look at the liver, like meridians, also supporting the nervous system, discharging the energy, gallbladder, um, uh, fear, hurt, that will be your heart chakra or your kidneys. Deep cycles are really good for that. Low self-esteem, soul cycles, for example, low self-esteem, helplessness, soul cycles are beautiful. Sadness, breath of life, lung meridians, all of that are really good. Can we have the link for this? Yes, so you have that in the group. Using the app, perfect. How to delete existing schedule? Oh, the schedule, you just create a new schedule. So if you don't want the same schedule, just find another list and just add it to an IMF schedule. Not enough. Okay, good. Start using it. Swati, I used to use it at times. Oh, Swati, you have a question. You have a raised hand. You can unmute yourself and ask me. So then I'll go forward. Swati, can you hear me? Okay, we'll go on and then we'll unmute. I don't know what. Yes, when I don't know what to run, you use the search app. Perfect. Resonance Blue app while vibrating for any Healy program or Bach flowers. What should be our intention? Well, depending on what you're doing, right? So, for example, if I'm vibrating my emotional intentions, I normally state my intention of like you can go and watch the training of how to actually state the intention of how to create an intention in a positive sentence and in a way that it's already been created. But for me, like I use things like I'm emotionally balanced and thriving, or if I really want to go deep, I can use statements like I'm allowing myself and my body to release whatever is not serving me anymore, so I can actually pull it up to the surface. So there's different ways you can approach it, right? Depending on what you would like to work with. How many times a day can I take the vibrations frequency programs? So with the Blue app, as much as you can take, right? Like just remember that, Blue app, although you might not feel the vibration, that it's not IMF current directly through the heart, it will still influence your field. So it's like, bubbles. It's going to bring up things. So you're going to need to face the emotions in real life, meaning in situations in real life. Just have that in mind. As we talked about, you can look at some coaching programs and things in the trainings, and we talked about how much time you need to actually do that. So the time frames, maximum minimum days to do. We do the Blue app program. As I said, like I vibrate my Blue app every day, but you need to decide for yourself. So if you go back to the coaching trainings, you will see the examples. So we had a manifesting with Healy coaching session training, which unfortunately we had to put it down for compliance. So I am planning to do another one in January. So you guys can have a proper scan of a coaching session, and we're gonna go and literally do an interpretation of someone live, so you can actually see how to read the coaching program and go deeper. That will be in January. What is your Facebook page? So if you find me in there in the group, you can either message me in there, just comment in one of the posts. But my personal Facebook page is Love Essence Wellness, but you have the group link for the recordings down in the comments. Thank you for your valuable information and so much clarity. Beautiful. Thank you. That means a lot. So it's valuable to you. I am in the group but couldn't find any recordings. So you need to go into the guides section. So if you're on the computer, it's going to be at the top, it's going to be tabs. Yeah, it's going to be tabs and it's going to say guides. If you're on the phone, you need to go onto the burger menu, which is 3 lines in the left corner. Yeah, left top corner. And you're going to click on those 3 lines and it's going to show you, and it says guides. So if you click on the guides, it's going to be at the bottom. It says advanced trainings, shift your frequency with Petra, and you're going to have all the posts in there. So you just click on the post, and in the comments of that post, you're going to see the link to the training. Thank you so much. I can tell you a bit about it next week. Perfect. I'll see you in the event. Can find guides on your Facebook page. No, it needs to be in the group. So guides are in the Freedom with Frequency Quantum Community group. So it's going to be in the group, not on my personal page. Yeah, couldn't find guides. Okay. Okay, find it. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other questions that you might have? If you want to raise your hand, if you want to talk, or do you want to share any of your aha moments, anything that you love, anything that you gonna take with you, they're gonna start practicing today, not tomorrow. Who's gonna start practicing today? I want to hear that. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, that will be probably everything for today. I will just wait if anybody else has any questions, if something comes to the chat for a few seconds. That's it. Perfect. No worries. If you always have any questions, please, in the groups, you can always comment under the posts of the topic, so I know what you are asking me for. But otherwise, that's it. You can always join, and I will see you next week. Next week, we are literally doing an interpretation, live interpretation of Schussler salts. So we're going to look at the emotion, we're going to look at the physical element of how it influences, emotion influencing the body. And then I'm going to give you some suggestions on how to actually support the physical body through that session. Yeah, so we can actually combine programs together. So you can start using the Healy properly, not just how you think you should be using it. Yeah, so we can go deeper. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. I am truly grateful for that. And I am really, really happy. It makes me happy that what I do for you is valuable and that you're taking something away from it and you're learning. And you please do not forget to integrate. Yeah, don't just gather knowledge. Start using it in your real life. Make it simple. Yeah. Love you so much. Have a great night, afternoon, morning, day, whatever you are. And I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.